Hey guys, it's Noe. Today I am doing a video for you on the kind of, not necessarily the top 10 because they're not necessarily in any kind of order, but 10 things that I dislike about moving. Because well, you know, we moved to Tacoma from Seattle, which doesn't seem like a huge move, but it's definitely been an adjustment, and we've had you know, things to get used to and stuff. So again, this is in no particular order, but number one, let's see, is finding the grocery store. I think this is, you know, and when you move from out of state to a new state, you want to say hi? There you go. Yeah. When you move from state to state, finding a new grocery store can be really challenging and sometimes really stressful. So like when we moved when we lived in Indiana, my favorite grocery store was Meijer, the Meijer, which I think is a Michigan brand. But Meijer was my favorite grocery store. Second was probably Kroger. So then we moved to New Mexico, and there was no Meijer. There was no Kroger, but there were grocery stores that were in the Kroger family. So there was QFC, which is in the Kroger family. So like a lot of the store brand things were also like the store brand of QFC was also Kroger. So you'd have like, because I buy store brand, so that was kind of nice because at least I had that continuity of brand. But just finding like where the nearest grocery store was, what I liked, like Albertsons seemed to be really expensive, but sometimes they had really good deals on meat. So like having to like find all of that stuff over again. So when we moved to Seattle then, from New Mexico, again, we were having to figure out where the grocery stores were and what grocery stores were here and everything. And again, I discovered Fred Meyer, and which is an Oregon-based company, and I absolutely love it. That also is in the Kroger family. So I was used to Kroger, which I think Kroger is based out of Cincinnati, maybe. So it's like a Midwestern thing, but I was so thankful. And Fred Meyer is a lot like Meijer in a sense that it's like a department store. So you can get your windshield wiper blades, your you know, your car, I don't know, like gifts for people, candles, outdoor stuff, whatever, a mirror, ironing board, along with all your groceries. So I like that. But the Fred Meyer that we had up in Seattle, I loved. I used to go to the one on 85th there in Greenwood. Absolutely loved that store. The one that's closer to us down here, it's okay, but I want to say that prices are almost more than they were in Seattle. So, you know, still trying to, I might try to find other stores. I've been to a couple of different other places, but Fred Meyer is still pretty much the one I go to. I do go to Winco, which is nearby, but Winco is sometimes so chaotic. And anyway, so one of the 10 things that I dislike about moving is finding grocery stores, finding where they're at, and finding a new store if you have to do that. Another one is just your overall routines. Like, even though my routine, hang on, even though my routine from moving down here from Seattle once my commute changed, that got a lot better. But still, just finding your own routines and like finding what's going to be the fastest way to get home from work, what's going to be the fastest way to get to the grocery store, to the mall, like where are the sticking points for traffic and how can you avoid those. So just finding your new routines, like where's the post office and all of those random places, you know, the DMV and all of that stuff. So Routines would be number 2. Number 3 is address changes. I absolutely hate changing my address. Now the nice thing is that a lot of the things that I do, I opt out of paper billing and stuff. But still, like the credit card, your bank account, like all of that stuff, you have to change your address. And it's just a pain because then you forget about something and it's like you get the mail forwarded. You get the mail forwarded and it's like, oh yeah, I have to change that. So just the going through the hassle of changing your address. Number 4 would be having to set up utilities. So either having to move your utilities or having to set up completely new ones. And then having to know, needing to know what utilities that you do need to set up. So at our house in New Mexico, we had nothing. Everything was electric. So we had electric baseboard heaters. We didn't have any gas in the house whatsoever. All of our appliances were electric. So we didn't have any gas bills. So then in Seattle, in the apartment, everything was electric as well. Then moving here into this house, our furnace, yes, our furnace is gas. And everything else is, oh, hang on. Okay, sorry, Nugget was getting into something. So here we had to set up gas for the furnace, then we have our utilities. Luckily our utilities, our electric, our water, our sewer, our garbage, all of that falls under Tacoma Public Utilities. So it's like one bill. So it's one company that monitors all of that. So we have our gas bill and then the electric company. So, and then we moved, we had Comcast, so we just switched our service from up in Seattle to here in Tacoma, which that actually was pretty painless, getting that moved and set up. So, because we had the router and everything, we just plugged it into the wall and we were set to go. So, but yeah, setting up utilities, figuring out all of that stuff is just a pain when you move. Okay. Sorry, the baby just dumped my desk trash can all over the floor. I'll get to it after this video. The other thing is restaurants. Having to find your new restaurants and having to find like, okay, well, we had our favorite teriyaki place and now where do we go? Or we had, in Seattle, we had Amazon Prime now, like Amazon Restaurants, which was like a food delivery. And down here they don't have it. So they don't have it in our market down here. We did recently get Uber Eats. So that's been nice. But, and then we've kind of found, we found that we have a teriyaki place that's not too far away. I mean, cause I mean, there's teriyaki places like on every corner. But just kind of having to find the places and like the restaurants that you like to go to, where's the nearest fast food, where's the nearest Starbucks, like finding all of that stuff is just, yes, it's exciting, but sometimes it's like, oh man, I just wish I knew where this was, or maybe it's farther away than what the old location used to be to where you lived. So just adjusting to that. The other thing is attractions, things that you were used to going to. You know, we had a park. Zoe lived a half a block away from the school, so we were able to walk her to school. We were also able to walk to the park. That's also where she had ballet. Like everything was super close. We were within walking distance to the library and all of that. So again, like, we have all of those amenities down here. It's just not in the same position in which we were used to. Like our house in New Mexico, we also had a park at the end of our street. Fortunately, we have a park within walking distance. It's not as close as the other parks have been to our house before, but it's still within reasonable walking distance. So, but again, it's just adjusting to that, finding that, figuring out how you add that into your new flow. Also, like, so I guess this kind of goes along with the grocery stores and stuff, but like finding where the nearest Target is, or, you know, the Dollar Tree, all of those things, just having to figure out where all of those are. The other thing is finding doctors. So doctors, dentists, all of your healthcare things. So because I will say, like, we don't have a doctor down here in Tacoma yet. I'm trying to remedy that. I need to remedy that for the start of the new year, but all of our doctors and stuff are still up in Seattle. So when we were all sick recently, didn't have a doctor down here, didn't want to have to drive up to Seattle just to see our doctor, so ended up going to urgent care, which is kind of annoying because then you end up paying more, but like we're not established down here. So that's something that I still have yet to do. Getting ourselves established with a dentist as well as our like our family doctor, pediatrician. So figuring that out. Also figuring out, like, if something were to happen, where's the nearest hospital? What hospital would I be going to? If something were to happen to the kids, like, what hospital is that they're going to? So just figuring that out, sorting that stuff out. You know, again, getting used to another doctor, getting used to another, like, healthcare system, all of that stuff. Then number 9 would be new neighbors. So again, like, you've heard stories about us living in the apartment and the things that we dealt with there. We had some really great neighbors, and then some, you know, we totally could have done without. When you buy a house, you're kind of stuck with those neighbors. You know, and in our neighborhood, there's a decent mix. There are folks that own their homes, like we do, and then there are also folks that are renting the homes from, you know, a landlord or whatever. So there's a mix. So fortunately, our neighbors to the side of us, they own as well, and they are nothing short of amazing people. We really enjoy having them as neighbors and consider them friends and everything. Some of the other folks we haven't really gotten to know. Some of them we know are renting, and, you know, most of the time people just kind of keep to themselves. But that's hit or miss, not knowing who your neighbors are going to be. And with rentals, like, not knowing how long those people are going to be in that house. Are they going to rent it out again? Is it going to go for sale? Like, if a house goes for sale, like, who's going to move in? So just understanding that, but then taking the time to having to get to know new people and figuring out, like, what kind of relationship, what kind of neighborly friendship you may have, or whatnot, and, like, who could you potentially count on if something were to come up, or if you're away, and can somebody grab your mail or watch your, in our case, feed our chickens, and watch our cats. And so just figuring out all of that stuff all over again. And then lastly, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is number 9. So this was input from Zoe, but new schools. And so from my end as a parent, you know, understanding the new school system, how the schools are divided, what middle school, what elementary school, what high school, all of that, what school district are you in, and then, you know, meeting the principal, meeting the teachers, understanding how the school works, what's the makeup, what are the kids like, what are the families like that are going to that school. But then also helping the kids adjust to a new school. And luckily, Zoe is the only one that's in school. And she was only in kindergarten up in Seattle. So she was only in school for 1 year. But still, like, she's had an adjustment period because a lot of the kids in her class went to kindergarten at this school. So they already knew each other and they already knew the school. And so Zoe's having to learn that and realize that things are different from her school up in Seattle. So adjusting to new schools, attempting to make new friends, getting used to new teachers and new surroundings, you know, maybe different policies or different ways of doing things, where you eat lunch, how you eat lunch, where you go to, excuse me, how recess is done and all of that stuff, you know, takes some getting used to. And then the number 10 thing, one thing that I really, really dislike about moving is the process of moving itself, packing. I hate packing. I will tell you, I love unpacking and putting things away and everything, but I absolutely hate packing, having to put everything in boxes. One, finding the boxes, packing everything up, finding, putting dishes together, and like depending on how far away you're moving, how neatly you have to pack, getting the truck packed, so getting everything out of your old place into a moving truck, driving it to the new place, getting it into the new place. It's just, that is a pain. And as you guys saw in a video of us moving, I fell off the moving truck at the very end of us getting everything moved in. So that would be, if I were to rank anything, packing is probably my #1 thing that I dislike about moving. So there you have it. Anyway, from my point of view, top 10 or just 10 things in general that I dislike about moving. So again, they were finding new grocery stores or new stores, establishing new routines, changing your address and making sure all of that gets done, finding out utilities and getting utilities switched and started and all of that, finding your new restaurants, missing your old restaurants, figuring out where things are, how to get them to you, missing old attractions, establishing new doctors, new dentists, healthcare, all of that, dealing with new neighbors, dealing with new schools and adjusting to schools, and then packing. So let me know in the comment section what are some of your major dislikes about the moving process, and maybe are any of my dislikes some of the things that you like. Some people may find it very cathartic to pack. I am not one of those. But anyway, we basically need a revolving door back here. But anyway, that's it for now. Hope you guys liked the video. Like, subscribe, watch, share, comment below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.